Good evening, good night, and welcome to all of us sinners. I am Nobody, your storyteller, your narrator, your number one fan, and this is episode 6 of season 2, The Refusal of the Return. We thank you all for your time, your efforts, your energies, and hopefully you'll enjoy the exploits of these sinners as much as we hope to. Thank you. And now we just wait for a few of the players to arrive, and we shall begin. Hey, how we doing?
Hoping to get my coughing under control before we start, for real. I got a big ass cup of water.
Okay, that's a good idea. I should probably get something to drink as well. Give me one quick second.
Other than that, I'm reading posts.
What post are you reading?
Sorry about that. Switching outfit. I'm trying to catch up as to what's going on the boat. So God posted, but like I what they post, let me go see. Because in the conversation and how to catch there, I start reading there more often because apparently other people like Brendan Lee Mulligan, like I do, man. But yes, you're for it.
Welcome.
Cutie patootie.
Hello.
Hello. Brendan Lee Mulligan. Why do you think he's a cutie patootie? Not that you have to explain, like, you're young. I'm just curious. What is it about him that stands out?
I don't know. Maybe I gotta say he's a redheaded nerd and he got no arms. He trying to flex and he don't think nobody flashing. Plus, I mean, the voices.
Yes, the voices.
He's like, maybe I want somebody different tonight.
So yeah, it is Wednesday. We brave few, we band of brothers and sisters and mothers and others. All that good stuff.
I am depressed and after my normal life. I don't want extra things. Yep.
Very well. So, chicken or death?
Is this like cake or death? Because obviously that's the easier choice.
Yes, your choice is your choice. Chicken or death? Baby doll, chicken or death?
No.
Option 3, it is.
Chicken to death. Yes. We're just going to keep feeding you and feeding you and feeding you. So, this is Wednesday. And I'm taking it that no one's received any message from Jacob, so we're not sure whether he's going to arrive or not. So we do have a few minutes before hard start. So, quick update. Starting at the top of the hour, baby, what do you got for us? Quick update.
It's Wednesday.
That's it. That's the update.
Okay.
What am I updating?
The entirety of the world as to where Baby Doll was and where we last left our heroes, or the heroes of our imagination, because we all know that no kindred is actually a hero, despite certain playstyles that may lend themselves to that notion.
Last we know, she was arguing with Sadie.
That's as good a place as any, I suppose. At least you're inside, you're not being rained on. There's no one hounding your shadow. It's not like there's a grand conspiracy of one of the boroughs aimed in your general direction.
Priorities.
Of course. A lyric.
She's trying to get back the time she lost or figure out how she lost the time in the first place. Talking to her new friend at the bar.
Did you remember your friend's name?
I'm saying she lost that with her time.
Those pesky introductions. Maddie?
I don't know. That's a lot to think about, man. Probably mostly just pondering her options.
What does she think her options are? It is Manhattan after all. Dumbo ain't so bad compared to the rest of the world, but compared to Manhattan, it might as well be on Mars.
Right?
And it's not like, these last few days she had not been running ragged with various things. And it's not like before then, over the last few weeks, she had not been delivering certain parcels and information and bits of this and that, clearly gearing up for something that just happened to be across the bridge in and around Brooklyn, in and around, pointing towards the shoreline, the coast, where Dumbo just happens.
She's got some people to chit chat with first.
We're gonna need some drinks for that. Man, we definitely need a drink for that. Yes. Lovely, lovely. What is this one? Huh. It's not bad. It's like a almost healthy Hawaiian punch.
Almost healthy.
Yeah, there's no really such thing as a healthy Hawaiian punch. If it tastes like Hawaiian punch, you know that it immediately is not healthy. But the zero sugar and them not replacing any of the sugar with worse things is a step in the right direction. Citric acid. See, there you go. I'm okay with the caffeine. I'm okay with the lack of sugar. It's the artificial colors that get you. Alright. So while we play for time in regards of Jacob arriving, where would you all like to begin? There were several things in the offing, of course, but there's also investment of resources. Because we all only have so many spoons for the characters and their own issues and what's going on with them. So let's try something a little different. Let's dive in where in their moments you all would like to pick up. All right, thoughts, suggestions. Where are we diving in, folks?
I guess it depends, because if we were close to sunrise, we might just want to do the next night. It seemed like people are very much not wanting to go out that night, so yeah, maybe next night would be the best way to pick up, and we can do kind of a restart.
That would work, because as I recall, Jacob had just asked if he could come over to Penny's place, and as I am going to assume, he's probably not going to show up because he was here last week, and it's every other week until he gets settled. It's kind of in a holding pattern on that.
That is a very good suggestion. So, is there any information that Penny, that you, as the player and soul for Penny, would believe that Jacob might be forthcoming with or broach in conversation in those first few hours of them dying for the day?
Well, that's hard to say. He is rather secretive about his work, but he also seemed very excited and wanting to tell someone who would be like, yeah, okay, pat, 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 good job. And then she would most definitely try to enlighten him about the whole Takata situation.
Okay. So let's start with that. In your words, an approximation, because not everyone, would remember or have an idea. What's Penelope's perception as to what she would actually say? He's just finished ranting about his moment and what things that he wanted to share, and she has the opportunity of communicating what she understands and what she perceives to someone else, what would she say?
So I had a very interesting visit earlier before you called. Basically, some people of note were not entirely pleased with how we handled that situation. Something about saying I should have been a lawyer instead of a driver, which is ridiculous. Anyway. Yeah, so basically they're like, hey, you need to go fix this mess. And didn't really give any more information on what to do to fix the mess.
Well, why should we listen to them?
These are the people that can get you dead. Dead-er.
Well,
Regardless, we need to figure out where the other two ran off to.
do we have to? But
I mean, we could let them do their own thing, but they were kind of thrown into this with us.
I don't even know what this is, but if you think that's best.
Do I necessarily think it's best? No. We have someone who tries their hardest to stay out of politics for good reason, and Miss Angry Pants. Who just tends to cause all sorts of trouble. But they are in it with us.
I don't think that Lyric would like being called Miss Angry Pants, but I understand.
No, the other girl.
Oh.
Lyric just tries to stay out of politics.
Well, that seems to be something we could do after sunset. I hope you don't mind me using your hospitality again.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time you've seen me naked, so whatever.
And with them dying for the day, and New York doing what New York does, which is move several hundred miles per second during the waking hours, the hustle, the bustle, the grift, the grime, the pushing and the shoving to get from point A to point B, only to return to point A once more. Upon resurrecting for the day, we'll get to Penny's plans post haste, but again, the day is over. The night has fallen. Lyric, picking up with her from where she was. How did she end her evening and prepare to die for the day? Was there anything that she might have done?
Group text. She literally text. telling in kind of shorthand Penny, Jacob, and Baby that she had visitors at her place of employment to stir up problems, being followed most of the week, and meeting a new possible friend to me. She still doesn't quite trust the redhead. They were there to help, sort of, to her. Like she's watching them, but at the same time, seem to be helpful. So explaining all of that in text, but without being super obvious, as close as you can get without just saying, "Hey, so these people are doing these things." It's more like a got followed all week. They're coming to my job now.
Is Lyric doing this in just one big block of text, or is it broken up into smaller texts?
Probably like a scatter of smaller. Like it would be like, oh shit, things went down at work tonight.
Okay, so after like the first maybe 5, Penny would just be like, just get your ass over here. I'm home.
I guess that would solve as to where she'd be waking up, but yeah, I guess that's fine. But yeah, she would definitely tell them stuff went down.
Okay. So, that brings us to Baby and Sadie. We turned away, drifting into black as like two celestial bodies. They were circling and moving into each other's orbit. We pulled away and averted our gaze because whether it was combat or camaraderie, we're sure that whatever was to take place might have been something considerably more sensitive, something considerably more private. So, as day threatened, how did Baby and Sadie come to a temporary end?
I'm not sure. Either Baby went home, though if it was too late for that to be an option, then they probably had some sort of hate sex.
Knowing Baby's compunctions and the softer sides of themselves, those many inner voices, what do you think that might have been?
Well, considering that there's some lingering blood bond sort of issues going on, it was probably the latter. Because why not perpetuate a bad cycle?
But is it though? It's one of the really screwed up things about the kindred. All of their actual feelings are at best buried beneath an ocean of complacency and selfishness. At best, it's akin to attempting to feel something through a mountain of gauze. It's half remembered things that they hold on to. So feeling something, earnestly, honestly feeling something that drives you to action, whatever that is something worth being cherished. That consideration of everything else feels so much of too little, that when you earnestly feel that heat, that warmth, those emotions welling up from beneath yourself, that's something to hang your hat on. And it doesn't happen too often for most kindred. What typically happens, what they actually feel, is a bruising of the ego, a stroking or striking of their vanity, something to make their blood boil because they have so much distance between where they are and where they were, and never get the opportunity of appreciating the small things. It's a trope for a reason. The kindred standing just half gloomed, just out of sight, watching and pining from a distance, their quote unquote loved ones, their liked ones, people that inspire them to something. That horrible purple pro stalker, always outside the window, always close enough to hear or see, but never close enough to experience, denied the warmth of the hearth. It's a trope for a reason. Most kindred conduct their night to night, their everlasting darkness, as if they are strangers in the world that they need to survive. Forever means so very little when it's viewed through a microscope or a telescope or binoculars. It's a horrible dichotomy. Forever stuck in one moment, forever stuck in one place. The world passing you by, especially those embraced into this half existence before the advent of the internet age, before the advent of social media being the only social interactions that most have, before social media being the only media that most persons have. The addiction to the various chemicals released when you hear that ping or feel that vibrate. All of that happened in the blink of an eye for those embraced in the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, of any and every previous century. It's hard staying abreast. It's hard staying on the cutting edge of anything when everything's happening second by second by second. Changing, adapting, growing, killing old things simply because they're old. No reverence for anything. No looking up at the hours of an artist's life, standing there above a plaza. No long conversations by the waterside. No knowing your neighbors intimately enough to be able to help them celebrate their birthdays, to prove to them that someone else notices them. No more sitting on the front stoop as the day dies away, getting to know who lives and operates in the neighborhood. All of those things falling by the wayside. Everyone moving into a position of existence where even in the actual physical company of others, you're speaking to someone or watching someone or interacting and engaging with someone hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, while those who are close enough to touch are equally occupied with other people who are not present, who are simply empty electronic voices. All of that to say, the emotions actually felt, earnestly felt, created from within, are a heady cocktail that is, well, you can get drunk on anything. So as day disappears, as night falls, and coterie is resurrecting, would you all be so kind as to take care of the bookkeeping. Let's see where you are. What does the beast have in store for you this night? Okay. Looks like we're starting alphabetically. The beast, like death and taxes, is one of the few things that is a constant for every kindred. While the kindred don't truly have to worry about death because they are immortal until they in fact die the second time, the time that sticks. And while kindred don't pay taxes in the way that most would assume, all the smart ones do. They arrange it so that no IRS agent nor bean counter has a reason to consider them anything more than the everyday average non-important member of these United States. However, the beast, much like the dude, will out. The dude abides, and so too does the beast. So resurrecting for the day, eyes snapping open as if some switch has been thrown. Maybe find yourself in some state of disrepair, some state of, well, having disrobed, having shared what little warmth there can be between two kindred, having once more stepped backwards. The beast, despite its selfish, self-focused, solipsistic existence, makes itself known. There is too much energy. There's too much output of almost positivity between Baby and Sadie. It demands its pound of flesh. It demands its necessary attention. Considering you took care of yourself, the least you could do is take care of me too. And on it drones and kicks and whines and screams like some unruly child deprived of whatever sugary sweet morsel that met with gravity's end. Sadie, as per her usual, after such moments of honest connection, it may have been for a dishonest reason, it may have been out of some selfish need to relive any semblance of positive moments from the past, but through it all there was honest connection between two entities, two becoming one and sharing a moment together. And as per her usual, it is always too much actually being forced to confront what little or a lot they do to bury themselves. So resurrecting in the bed alone, the balcony now open, letting you know that her servants, her boy toys, her retainers have once more entered and exited, violating all semblances of personal agency. And she, unfortunately, as is always the case, is not around.
Well, that makes a convenient time to escape. So, baby will pull on clothes and clunk out of there, still pulling on her boots.
Now, being a good, upstanding member of the tower, does baby keep a secret cell phone? Does baby keep a way of being connected to the modern age?
She does not.
So all of her messages are at the machine in her room at home. All of her connections to the rest of the world are in one place. Knowing what she does about being followed and what's happening in the city, what is on her agenda? Will she take care of her needs in this moment, or will she attempt to discern what's happening in the rest of the world?
No, she's a little peckish, but she's all right. She will probably swing by her place and see if there are any messages, and then she will figure out the rest of her night from there.
Living as she does so close to a hub of community, it's a weird one. It's eclectic. It's filled with artists and would-be artists and spiritualists and those just needing connection and those watching the behaviors of other humans, reaching out into the void, seeking some semblance of warmth, some semblance of touch, some semblance of community, which can all be boiled down to not wanting to die in complete invisibility of the modern era. So the drums starting, the crowds gathering, the neighborhood noises reaching their nighttime levels. Baby returns home. Her roommates, her meals on heels, as it often are preparing for a night out. The couches filled with discarded outfits and bits of this and bobs of that. Hair extensions and purses chosen and gone through and re-chosen and re-gone through. Things move from one place to the next. It looks very much like a whirlwind has sat upon a consignment shop. There are boots and heels and jeans and dresses and minis and maxis and baby dolls, and it's as per usual on nights when they've decided to visit the world, to dance into the late, to drink hopefully for free. The preparation is always the biggest part. And unfortunately, for baby, there are in fact messages. Several. And one that annoys the ever-loving shit out of her. Sadie knew you'd figure it out. Sadie knew you'd come. Sadie expected you to half start and half run away. And so she preemptively left you an apology message for the way that things were left. Gauging the time stamp on the message, you know that she left that just before you tore through her door. And she, unlike your previous place, doesn't have access to your machine to delete the message. She knew where you would end up, and she counted on your previous interactions as her guide and prepared a way to sweeten the pot. Normally, if you hadn't stayed, you would have returned home, and there would have been this loving message, and you would have more than likely found her, and there's a bit of showmanship to it, a bit of plotting and planning, and those same old feelings swelling up in the all too usual ways when her artifice reveals itself. So as you ponder and consider what that may or may not mean, and how truthful was what took place, the conversations had, the small pillow talk as day threatened and the strength of life left your limbs, there's a followed by another, followed by another. And as your roommates giggle and laugh and argue and yell and try to dance it out before and try to pregame, they all but ignore the door until finally someone says, "Just get the fucking door!" You can hear murmured conversations and the usual squeaking of the hinges. And then the slamming of that front door as your own bedroom door is knocked upon.
She will finish changing her shirt, slide her jacket back on, and come stomp over and throw the door open and be like, "What? What the fuck?"
Some old Tony Soprano dude is out here for you. Don't yell at me. Fuck.
You just fucking left him in the hallway?
What, you want me to invite some stranger in the house? Who raised you?
When do we not invite some fucking stranger in the house?
He's not cute, okay? I did say Tony Sopranos.
Fine, look out. She will go to the door.
As you open the door, several thoughts of who might be there dancing just behind your head. Who do you know that looks even remotely like Tony Soprano? Wide gut, wide shoulders, big back, a nose bent out of shape from a rough youth, balding and looking so very over it all. Expecting one thing, you end up getting another. While Dell is in fact a throwback, he's a well-dressed man about town. And while his age is apparent, he was not a spring chicken when he died into this existence. He's not wide of back nor big of stomach. There's no double chin or a jowly face greeting you. There's a all too wiry, all too whippet thin individual standing there. I didn't have your number, so
Yeah, sorry. I don't really do the whole tethered to the internet thing.
what, you ain't got no landline?
Well, yeah, I got a fucking landline.
That's your number, ain't it? It's still the same. I don't do the cell phone thing either. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. You guys haven't been showing up to work, so I figured I'd make sure you're still. And he pauses, hearing the noises of your roommates, your retainers. They in on this, and he touches the side of his nose. Oh, I gotta be on better behavior.
Nah, they all right. They, it's nice to keep a little something in the fridge. They know.
Okay. Well, I was just making sure that you were still dead. You're still amongst us. You're still with us. Because none of you have been showing up. And I've been pitching a bitch about having to do this myself. That wasn't the deal with your guy Arturo nor your girl Sawinski. So you ready to go to work?
Yeah, sure. I don't know where the others are, but I got dragged into some recurring personal bullshit. So, but I think that's taken care of, at least for tonight. So, yeah, I don't know where the fuck they are. You got their numbers?
I may have an idea of an idea. I had to do some asking around and some digging. Come on, let's get in the car.
All right.
So as you all head down to the dark on dark sedan, the same one that nearly ran you off the road accidentally, he opens the door for you and begins climbing in behind you. So, not that I'm that sort of guy. Like, I don't like hold my position above anybody's head or anything like that. Especially being as I'm behind the 8-ball too. Figured, we keep things humanistic. How do they say it's a management style, a flat circle hierarchy. Like, we all know who's in charge and what needs to be done, but there's none of this call me boss, call me master, or anything like that at play. We view each other as equals, and the respect is to, come in for a penny, in for a pound sort of thing. So, I'm not coming down on you or nothing like that. It's just, well, you all went to the meeting and then you fucking disappeared. You went and talked to the people that you're supposed to buy us time with and make sure things work out, and then you leaves me. And then I'm starting to hear Marlena pressing a suit and a case saying that the tower shouldn't be helping my family and that you guys are free of your obligations, and like I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. It was a little hurtful to my feelings. I thought we hit it off.
Yeah, I'm not real sure either. We did talk to Marlena, and she seemed pretty fucking reasonable, but she didn't say anything about this other shit. So I don't know. Maybe, I'm not the smartest lick on the block. Maybe I just didn't fucking understand. But yeah, I don't know where the others are. Like I said, I got dragged into some personal bullshit. I apologize for that, but it happens. So.
Yeah, I know it happens. It's just a thing. Like, these last couple of days have been really fucking hard, even harder than usual. You guys, I'm taking it that you hit it off with Marlena and the wolves over there, because the companies have been a little quieter. Not much quieter. They're still fucking around, which is part of the problem. I don't need them over there, but a lot quieter. They're less busy. It's amazing. It's almost like someone is slowly weaning them away to hold over somebody else's head that could change at any moment and go back to its old self and a heartbeat. Real Machiavellian stuff I'm thinking, and I know that's not what you guys are on. I know that's not what you're on, but it definitely feels a kind of way.
It's probably that fucking Zawinski. She seems like she just wants to stir up shit, just to stir up shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't put anything past the Magisters. One of the things they used to be called is keepers. They're brothers' keepers, and we're all their brothers, even if we're sisters, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you don't like being fucking kept. I got enough fucking problems with that right now.
Yeah, I heard about that. I had to do some asking around. You in tight with the privates, huh?
Just the one from time to time.
How is that? I always thought about trying to get me one, but they're a little snooty.
Well, you know, the nice times are nice, but then there's the other times.
And as you all move across the city, heading to a very familiar neighborhood to those of us who understand where the escape room is. Night falling and there not being a demand of your beast on your time or your own conscience. Its voice still there but no louder than usual is an odd thing. It doesn't happen too often, especially with the stress you've all been under. The fact that three of you resurrect for the evening, with that being the case, how do they say it in the old mysteries? There's no such thing as a coincidence. Almost as if your beast knows that there's another shoe to drop. There's something else that will be demanding of your attention and your time, and is willing to play along and bide its time. So, Lyric, Penelope, resurrecting for the evening. Conversations unfinished and unconducted because of the lateness of the hour, or the earliness of the hour as it actually is, as the sun was threatening to make itself known in the most visceral of manners. Once more in Penelope's safe room, her bedroom, her dying place. Is there anything you all will be discussing upon resurrecting?
Lyric, while putting on clothing for Dad, will notice that Jacob has gone missing again and point that out. And then afterwards, so the thing is, I don't recognize any of the faces that were there last night, but I know there was this nerdy looking guy, and he seemed to be the leader. And he did something or rather that made me and every other kindred that I could see in the bar lose time. It was like some mind whammy type shit where he was standing in one spot, we were walking towards him, and then we weren't, and he was on his way out the club saying that he wouldn't be back. The problem with that is they were there for a reason. They were there to stir shit. They were there to cause problems. To show me that they knew where I worked or I could get to me.
That does seem problematic. Losing time, really. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, like literally, I asked the other kindred who had originally pointed them out, and the fact that they were following me out, did they also see what happened? And they didn't either. They were watching it from away near the bar, and they still didn't know what the fuck happened. So I don't know what kind of power that must have got, but it's not comforting at all. And then on top of that, I remembered something about how I know the frog before all of this here, or how well I knew the frog before all of this here. And it makes it even more problematic that we unofficially helped them find him.
Well, that's no good.
I know Ben probably hasn't told you much about his family. And I know
No.
he's hinted around uh, who he belongs to, as it were. Let's just say there's some loose familial ties there. Not blood, but blood. Familial ties there.
Hmm.
And it slipped my fucking mind when we did this in the first fucking place, and now I'm thinking about it. So that's a problem. But it's more my problem than your problem, so I'll deal with it later. But for now, we need to figure out what we're gonna do about this whole work situation.
With our dear friend across the bridge.
Yeah, that. Because I also got a message recently that warned me under no circumstances should I go back across the bridge.
I received a similar visit, except basically implying the opposite.
You were told we have.
More
Mine was more
that,
of a suggestion, and I trust the person that makes the suggestion. But yeah,
more that we hadn't fully completed our task.
I don't like the fact that he was lying to our faces. He flat out lied to us, especially since I pointed out what the fuck I was smelling. You know. But that's neither here nor there as far as how we gotta handle this, because if you're being told that we have to deal with this and we have to go back, we gotta figure out what the fuck we're gonna do, because it's either we gotta go back or we don't go back and shit goes south.
The implication is there would be another war in a couple of years once a contract had expired.
And I'm willing to bet that we would be lampooned as the reason for that war.
That was the implication, yes.
Funny what you learn. I'm not in politics, but watching my maker loosely and deal with all this shit, you pick up some things. But yeah, so I guess we'll start doing this then.
Indeed. Of course, beyond dealing with the... She will wave her hand. Intrusion of the driving services. I'm not entirely clear on what he was asking other than going to that meeting.
think what the point was, we were supposed to clearly state our ties into why we would be interested in what they were doing or not, thereby tying ourselves to him so that if it fails on his part, if for us to, and if they're looking at somebody, they're looking at us too. I think the other thing that we could probably pull off is if we could find a way with those that we've met already to make it not worth having another war through no fault of ours, or make this business not work through no fault of ours directly, then we might just be able to just save our asses either way. We were supposed to be the muscle for pushing the competition out and saving the holdings, or saving his business, basically. Even though he originally didn't want the business in the first place, once it became a possibility, we were his way to have it happen. Flexing our muscles. I know I'm technically the muscle, but at the same time, the three of us should have been enough of a deterrent in his mind to keep Merlin out of his business.
Well then, he was certainly volunteered to the wrong group.
We know that, but the people that picked us felt like...
Oh no, I'm sure that Sawinski also knew this.
That's the thing. I think it is something like that where Arturo set him up to fail. And by doing so, set us up to fail with him. And that's the thing. Because if we don't fail, then we make him successful, and Arturo still gets something out of it. But we also stir the pot in doing so. We fail, then he can say, I told you so, and get rid of several problems all at one time. And that's something we don't want. We don't want to be the problems that he gets rid of. That's what we need to figure out. How we're going to pull this off without actually pulling this off so spectacularly that we put a fucking other target on our backs. Not to mention the whole, did you not hear her tell that Tremere that we're fucking hounds?
I caught that.
Speaking of catching, the knock at your suite's doors is annoying. It's the knock of one of your employees who has not been trusted with a key or access unfettered. It's the knock of someone who should be at the front door or patrolling the outside, making sure there's not garbage, making sure that you guys have a line of folks who are trying to come in, making sure that everyone's mostly taken care of. It's not the knock of someone who has full access to you. And the fact that it hasn't gone away has reached the point of just about perfect annoyance.
He will
stroll over and look at the peephole.
Yeah, it's what's his face. You know, the one that was hired a couple of weeks ago. You're still feeling him out. He's mostly okay and means well, but he's just not experienced enough with working with people and not experienced enough to know when enough is enough. If you tell him to do something, he will do that as long and as necessary as possible to get his full 8, unless of course you tell him to do something else. He's not really a self-starter, but at least he's fairly competent.
You will open the door and plaster on her best customer service smile. What can I do for you, dear?
Hey, Miss Penny, there's a driver looking for you. And I say driver because he's wearing like those rich people's, the suit, the living room or whatever it's called, with the hat and the gloves and the boots and the uniform.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Well, he's insisting that he needs to speak with you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had company. Should I go get them something to drink, or?
Do offer them some water. We'll be down momentarily.
Okay. Ma'am, miss, would you like some water? We got tap, and I can find some ice. He says, looking
No, the
directly at her.
gentleman downstairs.
Oh, the driver dude. Oh, okay. Should I offer him tap, or should I actually, give him one of the good bottles?
If he accepts one of the good bottles.
Okay. Should I give him a paper cup to go with it?
Use your best judgment.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. Yeah. I'll go offer him water. But wait, what if he doesn't accept? Do I still give him the cup?
No. Why would he need a cup without water?
Well, if I offer it to him and then, I give him the cup, because you should give him the cup so he can pour it into it, but then he turns around and says he doesn't want the water. He has a cup in his hand. So I was wondering, should I still, leave him with the cup if he says no to the water?
Lyric is in the background in stitches, mouth covered, shoulders shaking.
Again, why would he need a cup if he says no to the water?
What if, when he takes the water, what is he going to pour the water into if he doesn't already have the cup?
It's a very simple conversation. Can I get you some water? If he says yes, bring him the bottle and a cup. If he says no, say, very well, and go back to your station.
Oh. So you don't give him the cup first?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Are we a restaurant?
Well, we give people things to drink.
Yes. As part of the experience, but is he here for the experience?
No, he's here for you. So,
Correct.
what would you drink? I got some Dr. Dunder down there. I share it with you, but you don't never seem to be drinking anything.
If I were to drink anything, it would be wine.
Oh, I can bring
And
wine?
That is... No, forbidden on the job. Remember, no alcohol.
Yeah, no, not for me, but for you and people that are here for you. I found this box, Francia. It comes in a big box. I don't know how many bottles could fit in there. It's 3 bottles wide, but it's not 3 bottles deep. So I'm not sure if it would really hold 3 bottles or not, but it's Like I had a couple of bottles. Like my roommate got these Chardonnay bottles, and stacking three of them side by side, it's almost as big as the box. There's like, I don't know, half a bottle that the box is bigger than, but the box doesn't have Chardonnay. It's like this pink wine. It's kind of like if you water down fruit punch.
I will say yes. Please attend to our guest.
Oh yeah. So
Do him along,
want me to bring you wine for tomorrow?
and she will close the door.
Okay, I'll take that as a maybe. I'll bring half the box for you. And you can hear him trotting off down the stairs.
They're not all like that. If nothing else, we'll make some halfway decent food someday. Would you like to accompany me to see my guest? This mysterious driver.
Yeah, might as well just cut the middleman out and get this done over with. So I guess if there's maybe anything you need before we potentially leave for the evening, you might want to grab that too. And doing so, she will, grab her little waist bag and put her jacket on. Down they go.
And down they go.
As you all head downstairs behind your newest employee, which is funny because he's technically not your newest employee. Your newest employee is actually the guy who helps clean your cars and wax and polish your cars and keeps your garage proper and running order. He makes sure that your tools are clean and put away. He makes sure that all the oils are properly changed, all your fluids are topped off. He's actually your newest employee because he doesn't actually interact with any of the public, and he's competent. He's an older former mechanic, and this is what he does to get through retirement. Because, well, he didn't put enough away for his pension, so forth and so on, so he still needs to work. And he's worked out spectacularly. He shows up just after sunrise, and he leaves somewhere around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and everything is properly in its place. It's spick, it's span, everything is polished to a perfect shine. All of the preventative maintenance, all of the air, all of the little bits and bobs necessary to maintain your small fleet of vehicles is always perfectly taken care of. It's funny the way that works. How things slot into place when you least expect it. The one that shouldn't be a problem is not a problem, and the one that should be a problem is in fact a problem. In a similar modality of Kismet working so much, very much better than fate in regards of making things easy and flowing, when you all get to the escape parlor that is the residence for Penny, maybe the driver doesn't bother to ask any question. He just gets out of the vehicle, leaving you and Dell alone, as if something has already been pre-discussed and planned. It's that preparing for the future that makes so many fictional characters seem otherworldly. Those conversations, those communications that happen just outside of easy viewable knowledge. And in TV shows and movies and books, it's easy enough to pull off. It's easy enough to have those invisible conversations having taken place so that the Deus Ex Machina can do exactly what they're told. In the real world, in your world, that doesn't happen. People, well, most people. But then there's Sadie. And people like Sadie who make plans and act on hunches and have these whole teleplays happening for them because they plan on the complication. They plan to turn into the skid. They plan on the worst case scenarios. Dell, up until this moment, hasn't really struck you as that sort of person. Your conversations with him have been fairly breezy and easy, as if he's just going with the flow. So as the driver gets out of the car and heads in, he says, so I know you don't know this, I didn't know you weren't probably thinking about this, but isn't it kind of funny that she works in a place like this where you get jump scares and you're locked into small places and all sorts of things get your blood rate up? It's always struck me weird that that was the case for some people. Like, who pays to get scared? Would you pay to get scared?
Sure, why not? You know.
Seems like an awful waste of money. There's so much more in life that can scare you. Why pay for that? Like, I didn't tell you. I worked for the family for about 25 years before they finally decided to give me the proxy kiss even. And then once I got the proxy kiss and I started working my way through and learning the ropes, I distinguished myself and got the actual kiss. I got the nod, is what we call it. Like, you move from being someone's right-hand goon, whether you're counting money, breaking legs, shooting folks, burying folks, getting rid of bodies, and it's a whole business. It's a whole enterprise. But anyway, I finally worked my way up. My financial acumen, my ticket to potential success. I guess, making money seem like it's more than it is. To get more money back for it, kind of what I do. Kind of what I had an avocation for. Unfortunately now, because I am by far the lowest man on the totem pole as far as those of us who have already died and been jumped into this thing of ours, there's a lot of hope. And when I say hope, I'm mispronouncing expectations, demands. There's a without a shadow of a doubt, group of individuals who are demanding my success in this, which is the reason why I was hoping that Arturo would have said no. Him saying no would have took the matter out of my hands, would have made things a lot easier. Unfortunately, someone convinced him into saying yes, making it a done deal.
And it was that fucking Zawinski.
Julia? I don't know. She doesn't seem too fond of Arturo. But I wouldn't put it past anybody to willingly betray to get ahead. Would you?
I mean, it kind of depends, don't it? Not everything is black and white.
At the end of the day, it kind of always boils down to that. We Americans only see the color that most gives us the opportunity to either pish-tush or stay hushed up in our own little modicum of success. It's all about us individually. It's kind of funny. Only so few small people actually get ahead. is an elite crowd. I mean, like, everyone knows doesn't happen to everyone yet. And the moment that someone becomes successful, everyone immediately points at that person who beat the odds and says, why didn't you do this? Because it makes them feel better about themselves, keeping other people down, having hope used as a weapon. It's really fucking depressing when you think about it. And we're the only country that does that. You know that the Swedish, the Netherlands, the Danish, the tall Viking folks over there, they tax the rich for being rich. Like, their inheritance laws and all of that are designed that eventually, over the course of the life of a family, it requires more effort to simply remain rich than it does to make your little money, make your home and your immediate family okay for a generation or two, and then they have to go work hard to get it back, versus just passing down generational wealth. There are all sorts of loopholes they have, of course, but it's interesting that they had this idea, much like the Chinese, about the 100-year leases. You own something for 100 years. Your family doesn't own it for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 years. You eventually will lose the rights to that property. You eventually will have to give back to the country, the nation, the world, so that you don't hoard it. But not here. Not here. Long as your grip is strong enough, long as you bend the ear of enough of the right people, you can pass your wealth down forever. Which is kind of how the game is rigged. But I'm boring you. I don't mean to bore you. It's just I got a lot of things on my mind. There were plans put in place that I am just finding out that were put in place several years ago. I was still living, breathing it up on the easy street, as it were, fighting and clawing my way to a semblance of wealth. During my living days, when these plans were put into place, there's certain, how do you say, rituals. Yeah, rituals that were carried out that need refreshing. There were certain pacts and agreements made.
All right.
Don't be that way. Don't be that way. I'm not trying to put a guilt trip on you or nothing like that. It's just, you guys cost me a lot of money. You cost me a lot of time. You set me back, and now there's all of these rumors and gossip going around about you all jumping ship, saying that, you did the thing. Nothing was done. We own it, but we don't really have what we were setting out to build.
Well, maybe I was unfucking clear. What was it exactly we were supposed to do?
You are supposed to be my crew until our little area of Dumbo, our little triangle of hope, was profitable for the family. And being profitable for the family means being profitable for the kindred of Manhattan. Prince Panhard, Churro. Sawinski was in on the deal, kind of, sort of, but loosely, more like a not so silent partner. She gets a small percentage of what's kicked up to you guys. This partnership was the first of potentially many, where, much like the Anox out there in the Bronx, have a don't ask, don't tell, skim sharing of votes and such going on. Like, everybody knows that the Anox under Torque and Richter frequent the city. They get into Manhattan, they do their things, and they get back. They're not supposed to, but because they kick up just enough finances, they're able to operate when they need to operate in and around Manhattan. Just don't get caught. Don't make it obvious. Until they kick up. That's what we were doing. We were setting up a potentially lasting partnership so that we could operate openly together, respectful of each other's families.
Okay, because I was kind of under the impression originally that you wanted this whole fucking thing to go like south, but as far as being your agents, I mean, what exactly does that entail? Like, we're fucking secret agents, we're supposed to beat people's fucking faces into the concrete till they say, okay, here's our money.
Hopefully it didn't get to that, but you came highly recommended that would be in fact the case. That you were, rough and tumble, and you had some pull on the street. You had some street cred, as they say.
Well, yeah, in fucking Manhattan. I can't do shit over in Brooklyn. It's like a whole fucking other world over there. And Zawinski is fucking playing games to begin with. I don't know what her fucking deal is, but she is like changed her fucking direction like 4 times since this all started, like, 3 days ago?
A business week and a half a day, but yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. She was all hot about doing this thing, and then she was all hot about doing the opposite thing. And then we talked to Marlena, and Marlena seemed pretty fucking reasonable. So we listened to what she had to say. So it's been a fucking week, so I don't remember exactly what it was she had to say. But and nobody said anything about pushing you out.
Well, that was nice of you to hopefully not be one of those that would mention that. I'm thankful. That means considerable to me, at least. And yeah, I honestly, like, just between you and me, I really don't trust Zawinski. And them dark, creepy, magisters, brothers keepers, they always got their own plans. She was being helpful. I took the help. I could definitely have needed the help and used the help. But now it doesn't seem like she was really helping to begin with. I don't know who to put past what these days. And as he bemoans his state, squeezed between the vice of the Hakata and the tower, with no clearly defined path forward, or so he says. It is 47 after. Let's be back at the turning of the hour. Alright guys, how we doing?
Oh,
And we put the space heater on in my office because there's no insulation to the outside of the building. As this was a build on later, and now it's made it too hot in here.
Oh. Well, that's not fun. All right. So moments of revelation being shared in the car. Between a rock and a hard place, as the saying goes, or between Sela and Charybdis, if going back to the original. The whirlpool and the monster and the craggy rocks is where Dell actually is, as far as he's relating and explaining to Baby. Because it is clear that older or more powerful, or a combination of the two, kindred are playing stereotypical chess with all or most of the kindred of a certain level. The most respected, just in terms of status, of course, being Penelope, who seeks on the average occasion to be of service in the least involved manner possible. Getting something you want to someone else, or getting someone you want to someone else, to constantly remain on the move, to constantly provide a service that requires very little immersion of her own beliefs or her own actual impetus or energies. A street cred, do actions of the past, and no active participation, investment in anything presently going on, to remain above the fray by being constantly on the outside and helping those on the inside based on pay. And Lyric, the perpetual outsider, free of most of the ebbs and high tides of kindred politics. And then Baby, gifted to a nearness and non-interaction politically, each and every last one of them expendable. If they fail, so be it. If they are successful, well, guess what? So be it. The more is the better. And there are forces throughout the city attempting to utilize that to their own ends. A win, lose, still everything remains the same and the game continues on. The shell game of battles purportedly lost, but there's no skin in the game. There are expendable kindred. A game of capturing territory, and again, there's no skin lost because it's done by expendable kindred who wouldn't know how to best leverage that victory into something more. The kindred have been playing this game for ever, because they know a secret. They understand that your lucre, your treasure, your territory, your domain, your money is not the end-all be-all. It is a delivery system. Each and every last one of your dollars needs to go out and make more of itself. Each and every last one of your retainers needs to go out and make more of itself. Each and every one of your vassals need to go out and make more of themselves. That is the game. But those above the fray, those beyond the fray, those outside of the circle, never ever learn that aspect of the game. And by the time they do, typically it's worn away all of those bright, shiny, rough edges that makes them who and what they are. And in the doing, the game continues. So as you all, Penny, Lyric, make your way down to the driver who's standing at near attention, a empty cup in his hand. A small, curious frown as he twirls the cup. He rolls it in his fingers, looking at the uniform, corporate-made small bit of flair on the cup. It's a paper cup that's designed for hot, cold. It's mostly foamy in terms of presence, but there's a slight raised aspect to it. It has a texture. And he's looking at the sprayed on, painted on, he's not sure which one, or whether it was mixed in with the pseudo styrofoam of the cup that lets it still be microwavable, but or you can put something cold in and keep the cold. How do they do that? Because it's not styrofoam. It's something else, and that small bit and the empty cup is what's keeping him busy as he stands, mostly at attention, just rolling the cup, waiting on your arrival.
Lyric looks. Did he forget the water for the cup?
No, the gentleman handed me a cup and asked that I want water. I informed him that I did not wish to have a drink, and he said okay and went back to whatever it was that he's doing. And he points back toward the employees area where there are several employees, and the gentleman who came and knocked on the door isn't there. It's clear that they sent him off on another task somewhere in the back portions of the space. I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do with a cup.
I see. And we even had this conversation before he came down to offer you some water, that you don't give someone a cup before you've asked if they would like something to drink. Clearly, he did not pay attention.
I was surprised that water was on the menu. He was speaking about Chardonnay or some boxed wine. That I'm taking it that you're the owner is going to be so happy when he brings it in for you.
He's off in his own little world. Mentioned that I preferred wine to water. That's a thing. Whatever makes the employees happy, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yes. Mr. Delaventura is downstairs and awaits your presence.
Fabulous. Would you care for some water?
No, thank you. And he looks at the cup and then looks
I
at you.
will take the cup. And it's a paper cup, I'm assuming, so she'll toss it in the appropriate bin.
I'll tell him that you're on your way.
Delightful. Mr.
Arthur will do.
Thank you, Arthur.
As he leaves you all to go deliver the message, there's something right on the tip of your tongue about this visit. There's something obvious and yet just eludes you, just evades you.
Well, that's even better.
Kind of weird. He just shows up when we're about to go find him.
Some days things are less strange than they seem. What are the chances he brought Baby Doll with him again?
I'm not a betting woman, but I'm pretty high.
They do seem to run into each other quite often. The last time almost literally.
Alright, I suppose we should get this shit over with.
Yes, let's go.
It's funny how quickly we adapt to small things. Small little changes that would have been horribly out of our way the day before become our new normal once we become accustomed to it. A day or two, and the new strange shortcut becomes just the way to school, work, friend's house, grandma's house, whatever. And then we find another shortcut, and that becomes the new normal. And then eventually we circle back around to the original way that we were going, and it seems all too novel. It seems all too new. We get accustomed to and trade off things so very, very frequently. One of the main things that the Kindred become accustomed to is that they, for all of their vaunted self-importance and belief that they are in fact the apex predator, that they are in fact the also apex prey of themselves and their machinations. And part of that is exemplified in an ever-shifting presentation of what one believes or wants someone else to believe is the truth. Moving the goalposts. Constantly changing the vantage point on a certain thing to better suit one's own needs. So as you all head down to the all too familiar and aesthetic dark sedan town car, not quite a full-fledged limousine with wet bar and the like, but very, very close, large enough for 6 or 7 to ride in relative comfort. And Arthur waiting and opens the door, motioning for you all to get inside.
Good evening. She will say as she climbs in.
How we doing? I wasn't sure if you guys were under the weather, you had personal things you were attending to, but you guys ain't been back to work. I thought we had an agreement. Baby was telling me about some of the issues that she's been dealing with here, so I figured it might be like the blue flu, something very, very contagious. Everybody get caught up in their own things.
You're a good cat smile. Yeah, I haven't been missing a bit of work and need to pay my rent. So I needed to do at least a week getting back on schedule for the club.
Why'd you say so? I would have told you off a few bills to take care of your basic necessities. And like I believe that we should, one hand washing the other, so that we all can get through this in the best way possible, considering how star-crossed we are, how thrown together we are, how I need you all. Let's just be perfectly honest. Each of you came with your own reputations that were supposed to be able to, if this thing went through, which as you all saw it did, we could profit together. And with that, he reaches inside his breast pocket and just hands over a water bill. This should cover most apartments, and your space over the aquarium is only $2,700 for your little space. So why don't you just take this, don't worry about it, pay your next month's bills, pay your rent, so that we can have you unfocused. Focused on what we need you focused on, which is, well, the space isn't really gonna rehab itself. The enemies, the dogs baying at the back door and the cat scratching at the roof ain't gonna go away without your help. I don't have the individual strengths that you each do to make sure this thing gets legs and stands on its own and, well, becomes a place of our own that will provide value to the family and to the tower. I'm not gonna say that I was hurt by you all not showing up to work, but I was. Like, I'm okay with having to do it on my own if I could do it on my own, but it's not just my name on the line here. It's not just me that will take the heat. This goes sideways. You all understand this, right?
A war was mentioned.
A war? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know much about a war. Maybe before my time. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Something that's already happened.
No, they were quite specific that it would be a future one.
And these they that you're talking to, who are they?
Let's just call them pillars of renown.
Okay. And so you've been talking to the poor. Okay, we can go with that. Yeah, okay. So, here's the thing. It's been a couple of days. The valet situation has gotten a little bit better, but it's just it's clear that it's cocked like a gun pointing at my head still. No one's pulling the trigger, but the gun's cocked. And just because they're not shooting in my direction doesn't mean that they don't have the opportunity of doing so. I was hoping that you all had negotiated a permanent removal of the gun from pointing at our particular area so that we can get down to brass tacks. We need to make contact with the local anarchs. We need to make contact with the local this, that, and the other. There's a few families in and around the area. And the moment we start making money, of course, they're going to hold us hostage.
Well, fucking wait. I thought you were worried about some valets and shit. Now there's fucking guns.
The valets are the gun. They're threatening something more important than just our physical well-being. They're threatening our future earnings.
My thing is, since we're being all chummy and washing hands and helping each other out, you know a lot about me. I know less about you, but at the same time, I think I want plausible deniability in some respects there. But the thing is, we looked you in the face and I asked you a question. And I was like, so, if we can't get that off our chest, if we can't be 100% on the level with each other, I don't know how this is going to work.
Okay. That's fair. That's very fair. For other people besides ourselves. I tell you everything I know, right? What do I get out of it? Probably stabbed in the back. We all know this. I don't tell you everything I know. What do you get out of it? The same thing you got coming into it. You're already over a barrel with me. So why are you gonna, try to bend me over more? Instead of slowly work our way through this, we build a mutual respect and understanding of each other. And isn't that sign, and he points toward the money, isn't that sign enough that I'm a trustworthy guy? I may not tell you everything some of the time, but what I told you, it will be as true as I could possibly make it be. And in due time, as you learn and you witness and you are able to see, you get there. You get all of the notice and all of the understanding. And there's a lot. There's always a lot.
The thing is, I'm not asking you for everything. You keep your secrets about certain things, but the fact of this one giant glaring issue, this one giant glaring situation in a building that I have to work in seems a little off to me somehow. But if you say it has to be a secret, it has to be a secret, it has to be a secret.
Okay. Let's trade a little bit here. Being as you bring it up, we'll start with you. So why don't you tell me that your potential broodmate and associate was negotiating with the people who are trying to take money out of our mouths?
Thinking for a second, like, who is he talking about? I didn't know he was gonna be there, just like you didn't know he was gonna be there. I was just surprised to see him there. Is anybody?
And this is fair, but what about happened afterwards?
Tell me. Afterwards, what? I went home.
For a business week. Not a call, not a smoke signal.
I told you where I was. I have people that can vouch for where I was because they were following.
And this is something that could have potentially helped you with, but you didn't tell me. You weren't forthcoming. You had the opportunity. It's a business week. A call, a postcard, a two-way page. You know what I mean? Like, that's information that we could have helped each other with. That was in the offing. You're being followed. These things happen. But I could have talked to some people. We could have talked to some people together. We made sure that it disappeared. Anybody else feel the same way? Like, am I off base here? Am I missing something? Because, you know, in the same spirit of sharing the information, I hear you folks telling everybody that the deal is over. You guys did what you're supposed to do. There's nothing that you can be held accountable for. And you're now with Marlena.
Well, I don't know where the fuck you heard us talking about the whole thing was over. It's some shit that either you're fucking coming to some conclusions or whatever, and on the other fucking point of interest, you don't fucking own me. I mean, I'm fucking helping you out. Not fucking on your payroll. I'm not fucking here at your beck and call fucking 24 hours a day.
This is true. We don't have 24 hours a day. And yes, you are on the payroll, but I probably should have told you that in advance so you knew that there was some investment in your success and our mutual success. That's what this thing is. We are doing something that ain't never been done before in the name of future greater enterprises together. My rise, your rise, we rise together. And now all of a sudden, word on the street is, fuck me, right? You guys are with Marlena now. You're part of her big banner, her big push to become Primogen or some shit. Now, mind you, I only heard this yesterday, but still, business week, and then now I'm hearing this. How am I supposed to feel?
That's a whole fucking separate thing. The whole Marlena Primogen thing, that ain't got nothing to do with, the shit that you wanted us to do. We went and fucking talked to the people. This fucking, flies and vinegar thing, Zawinski's full of shit. Fucking, she's pushing a direction, so we went the other fucking direction.
I do think that she's full of shit. Like, who makes them the living being the media for people who don't use media? We don't put our shit in newspapers. There's no encyclopedias. There's no, boys on the street corner saying, here you, come get your paper. No shit like that with all of our news in it. Why do we need a media permission? That don't make sense to me. Like, I mean, what is she fucking reporting? There's nothing to report because we don't put stuff out there on the internets. We don't put stuff out there on the interwebs. We don't put stuff in print. What is it that a person who's in charge of media for people who don't need media, what is it they really do anyway?
Fuck if I know. I don't get involved in any of that. What they fucking do is what they fucking do. We all got our thing, right?
Normally I'd agree, but you keep saying that she's full of shit, and I kind of gotta agree with you because I need help. I really did. Her whole point of her, the help they're supposed to offer was to make sure that this didn't happen. I wasn't supposed to be stuck in fucking Dumbo. You wasn't supposed to be stuck with me, even though, I took a suggestion and said, your reputation is what your reputation is. But still, this wasn't supposed to happen. We weren't supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be stuck out on a limb needing you all. Because that's what it is. I need you all.
Out of curiosity, what specifically did she tell you about our reputations? Or so-called reputations?
You guys got in good with some heavy hitter, Mrs. Fig, Mrs. Madam Burned. I don't know. She's yeah. Something about her being behind the scenes. Her and Sadie's project up there, and Yonkers and the projects down there in Jersey City. Supposedly, you guys are loosely involved and got in good with her, and you got some pull with the local primogen to make these, hopefully make this, if it went through like it went through, to make sure that this is a guaranteed possibility. And now,
oh my dear, I'm afraid you've been hoodwinked.
No, man, I heard something about the Butch thing too, but I mean, I'm not fucking involved in any of that.
We had the unfortunate privilege of getting between two of our illustrious hard hitters. And that's it. I can assure you we are not firmly on her good side. And her businesses, we've not to do with.
so you guys got sold to me as something that you're not.
Yes.
And you were saying, Larry?
Lyrics kind of smirking, thinking about how bad of a bad side they are on. And as soon as Kenny mentioned their businesses, she kind of like put their hand over her face and kind of rubbed better.
So, not only are you not who you were sold to be, you're not even connected with the mover and shaker that you were sold to be connected with.
I mean, in my defense, I wasn't probably sold as much of anything because people don't really think much of me anyway. But, you fucking picked me up after almost hitting me and drug me into that shit. So,
yeah, I was told that if I made the offer too obvious and drug you with, you'd be resistant. They were told me that you need to be wooed, that you need to be seduced, and no offense, but you're not really my type. So I figured adventure was the way to go.
See, now I know you're full of shit because I'm everyone's type.
No, you're really not. If I was, 2 decades younger during my living days, definitely good for a couple of hours. Let's be perfectly honest, 15 minutes, just like my first wife. But we were like vinegar and vinegar, fighting against each other constantly. Technically, I guess, technically I'm still married to her because I never got a divorce before I got my second and my third marriage, or my fifth marriage. But anyway, we're not really compatible, and it's one of the few things that I've learned from being here. If you know a thing doesn't work, don't do it. I'm sure we have great fireworks. We break a couple of beds or two, and I'm perfectly honest with the truth of the matter, we wouldn't break a bed. I'd say we break a bed with one of the things that I used to do when I knew I was gonna, hook up with someone who was enjoyable. I would book the room in advance, then I loosen the bolts so that when we start doing what we start doing, that was my goal. I just say, be perfectly honest, it is what it is. It's just a little bit of warmth, a little bit of friction. But you always get a better reputation when your partner can go back and tell their friends, oh my God, we broke another bed. So we really wouldn't, but it would feel and it would look like we really did. And you go tell your friends, I got a good reputation. Keeping my options open, keeping your options open.
Whatever helped you sleep at night there, sweetie.
It did. It was a good plan. It still works to this day, though. The kiss helps with that, making sure that everyone feels where they're supposed to feel.
Did she provide you, or whoever recommended us, presumably we all know who that is, give you any details on our individual skill sets?
You're the wheel man, and he points to Lyric. You're the muscle, and he points to Baby. You're the distraction.
Fairly accurate.
There's some black guy that's supposed to be with you, and he's the annoying mouthpiece. And some wizard who's supposed to provide mystical backup just in case it needs his expertise.
The wizard with his magical expertise is quite the baby.
Sounds like a fucking sitcom.
Well, you tell him. I got multi-million dollars on the line, and I'm being set up for fucking failure. Which is as funny, and this is the part that sucks for me. So Winsky provided me with your address.
That's the thing. We were all set up to fail. Pointed that at us. They lied to you, and they lied to us, hoping that you would fail spectacularly. And if you failed spectacularly, that gave them all kind of license to take us all out and make us disappear. So maybe you pissed somebody off you didn't realize because they were using us to make you fail so they can get rid of you and us at the same time. But should we succeed in all of this, then it's no harm, no foul to leave us alive. Such as it is.
Yeah, so since we all fucked over, then we're doomed to failure. Let's get the fucking paper towel. Let's wipe all the fucking board off so it's just white again, and let's fucking spitball and figure out what we do now.
That's a good fucking idea. I don't like being... Nah, fuck that shit. I hate being used by others told you I got the proxy kiss. I spent years as someone's go do it. And now I got my shot and I'm being sized up for a fucking grave. That's fucking ridiculous. Anybody know where this Lewinsky lives?
Not specifically, no.
I mean, I could make a fucking call and see if somebody knows, but then that becomes a whole fucking thing.
Okay.
I mean, worst case scenario, we swing in through a few known salons. Put out a message that you would like to speak with her.
What about Butch? Y'all got ties to Butch, right? So she's supposed to be pretty fucking hardcore. She may not like this Lewinsky bitch making fucking moves. I mean, just spitballing, right? You get one fucking problem, and if you can kill it with a bigger fucking problem, then you do that, right? You bring in the bigger fucking cat.
The only problem with that is who's gonna fight the fucking tiger.
You feed it enough fucking meat, you can sneak off.
I'm not sure of the wisdom of calling in someone who has what amounts to being a city killer on speed dial.
So how else are we gonna get next to Lewinsky to take her out of our way and stop making problems for us?
Could begin with the moon touched. That was her elevation to her position, more or less.
Just out of nowhere, just so we're aware of all maybe the possibilities here. The Tremere are not currently big fans of her. If you remember our last meeting with that guy.
One of the regions.
So you want to solve the problem by going to the fucking Tremere? Because that sounds like another bigger fucking problem.
Don't you guys already have somebody that's a part of the pyramid to work on that?
Yeah, the smuggling partner.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the guy. That was the warlock. Your smuggling partner, your smuggling daddy.
If anyone's the daddy, I am.
You know, we don't need to get into the whole top-bottom thing, but he's a fucking Tremere, right?
Yes. But as I said, he's a relative baby. No one of importance, at least outside of the tower or the pyramid, Not entirely sure of what his status would be inside. But judging by how he defers to others so quickly, I would say likely not terribly influential.
Well, if there's one thing I fucking learned is that you ain't got to be terribly influential if you got the right damn message. Now I don't know what that fucking message is, but I'm just saying.
I'm definitely open to ideas because, in my day, she'd get a pipe bomb in her car as a warning.
Not against that fucking idea.
You know anybody else that she's fucked over besides us and potentially the Tremere?
She got a real fucking hate on for Marlena. So I'm sure there's something there. But other than that, I don't know. Don't really run in those circles anymore.
The name that comes to mind most readily is Frog. Who
Yes,
would
that was
directly have reasons not like her.
Bit of a debacle there. I'm not sure that he would be willing to speak with us after that either.
And ain't Frog banging some other kindred?
He's supposedly married, and I know who he's married to. But that's not the point. The point is, we were used as pet food for that whole situation. So, if we approach him from that angle and say that we were both led astray or we were both played against each other, that might help with the lick back. Like, hey, we can help you get your lick back.
Yeah, but I don't know, because she was, maybe she's full of shit on this too, but she was saying that Kadia was involved, and I really don't want to fuck around with Kadia's involved.
He seems to already be involved.
Well, right, with the frog guy, but, if we get involved with the frog guy, then we are going to be involved with Kadia, and then we don't want that. Because, being a fucking failure, no one expects anything more from me anyway, so, I can weather that, but fucking around with the sheriff? No, fuck that shit.
Well then, you should be happy you were not at my place yesterday.
Why, you were fucking the sheriff?
Someone was getting fucked.
You got an in with the sheriff? Why don't we use that in to put Sawinski in her place?
No, he's the one who came to warn me about a war if we did not make this work.
How are you gonna let them know that it's gonna work?
You might have fucking led with that too. Hey, the sheriff came over and said we got to do a thing. That's not something you're holding your sleeve for later when we're talking about that very fucking thing.
I had mentioned it without mentioning names. I was seen yesterday by some pillars of our community.
Look, guys, you know I don't fucking pay attention until you say something that perks me up, and the Kadir would have done it. Pillars, fuck pillars. What's a fucking pillar?
It's that thing over there in the park. The little obelisk that's standing in there. It looks like a totem pole, but it's not really a totem pole. It's all stone. It's a replica of the thing that's down there in Washington. So it's like that, but it's smaller, and it's like 3 or 4 of them in a row right over there by the bridge. Central Park East. There's this whole little exhibit. You know the installations they do outside.
No, it's like this time, like even I knew this time it was like a metaphor.
No, I knew it was a metaphor, but you said you didn't know what a pillar was, and forgive me, but I grew up in a time someone doesn't know anything, you tell them so that they know. Then you guys can continue conversation. So you get the image in your head of what the pillar is, like not just people who can't envision images in their head. Like you tell them something and they believe you, but it's not like they could see it. Found that out the hard way. One of the guys that used to drive me around to pick up the money from the various drops, he couldn't form images in his head. So you had to be very precise in what you told him, because if you alluded to a thing, a metaphor, an aphorism, or a chestnut, he wouldn't quite grasp it because he couldn't see, the father and the son walking with their ass. He just thought to people walking down the road. So when you say ass, he doesn't envision it. It doesn't pop into his head that you're talking about a donkey. It doesn't pop into his head that everyone's telling them not to be the way that they're doing it, but to please everybody else, and they learn the lesson afterwards. None of that makes sense to him. He hears the words, but he doesn't see the images. Well, not anymore, because he's not around anymore. Bez had him fed to the crocodile down there where the old guy used to be.
Right. Okay, so we're not interested in bringing in Butch, and apparently fucking Kadir is an option, though I would rather not fuck around with Kadir. What else do we got that is potentially a thing?
Unfortunately, if I reach back up the line, tell them that, this whole thing is a setup, it's still going to fall on my ass. Cat Costello's working on that development deal out there in the Bronx, but I'd have to go above her, which means I'm talking to Bez, or hopefully not actually ever having to get to Donatello, because he's crazy as a fucking loon. That guy will, he will bury you because, well, he can talk to the dead. Like, he'll keep you here forever and without a body at his disposal. I don't really want to go that far up the totem pole, but if I try, I'm not sure what the result going to be anyway, so I'm not going to do that unless, of course, I absolutely fucking have to. We need to get Sawinski off of my back, off of your back, so that we all can live in peace. I'll even keep, like, that we're doing this thing going on as long as I possibly can until we can figure out how to deal with her. You say you got an in with this wise frog that Kadir hates. We'll put that in our back pocket. We may have to reach out to them and their associate. You say you don't have an in with Butch without bringing down the whole house of cards. We put that in our back pocket. So far we got 2 cards there in our back pockets, and then 3 cards if we count me having to reach up the totem pole to get to some back of my end of the thing. That's give us 3 cards in our back pocket.
And I'd rather not get Sadie involved if I ain't got her, but I suppose that's another fucking card if if the whole house is on fire and there's no other choice. But if I gotta ask her for a fucking favor, it's gonna hurt, and she's gonna hold that over me for fucking ever, and it's not worth it to me. I would rather fucking burn.
I get that. My third wife made me want to do that. She tried to catch me in the shower. She sprayed the floor with cooking oil, and then while I'm taking the shower, she's thinking that I'm not paying attention, and she waits till I opened the shower door. And when she started trying to assault me verbally with my past indiscretions, like, "Oh, are you still sleeping with your second wife? Who's fucking Janine?" Like, she don't fucking know who Janine was. But anyway, I get that. I would much rather blame than ever be put back in that situation again. If not for me holding on for dear life when I fell, I could have been at complete disposal. Luckily, she, was smaller than me, and all of this machismo landing on her knocked the wind out of her and kept it from getting so much worse. And she looked better with the oil coating the dress like it did when we hit the ground.
Well, it's complicated. But, yeah, what you got, Lyric? You got a fucking card we don't want to play?
Problem is, I've already played that card. That's what got us to Carolyn Burton. But that's what got the skirt stop chasing us in the first place. My card that I pulled. So the closest next card I have is the frog. I don't mind going that route. But I'd be taking my hands to approach him. The other thing I pointed out was, we're kind of like moving around the whole Tremere thing. And while our friend is low on the totem pole, remember that the regent that came there that day seemed a bit flirty and was looking at all three of us. So that is a potential in.
Hey, did you guys really whack out fucking Edward's kid? Because maybe you'll fucking call on Edwards, and then maybe Butch get involved because you're fucking talking to Edwards? I don't know.
That wasn't Edward's kid. It was Birch's. And we didn't kill him.
He was Birch's potential kid. At the time of his death, he was merely property.
I don't know. I just heard some shit, when people talk. I just, thought, if we have enough shitty cards, maybe we got a good hand.
Edwards was another motherfucker that lied us in that direction, getting us in between him and fucking Birch, which we did not realize at the time. Which is how we know Birch, or how we met Birch, because she doesn't like Edwards.
Yeah, I heard some shit about that too, but it's not important right now. So that's not a card. So we've got like 4 cards and they all suck. So we need like another card that sucks, and maybe we got a fucking Yahtzee or something. I can tell by your silence that whatever I just said was really fucking dumb, so I just shut up now.
It's not dumb. I'm just thinking. Marlena's your protector, as it were. That's why I even can't circle back around. I was going to give you guys another couple of days. I figured that you guys were working through some things, maybe doing a favor, and then I get hit with the fact that you all are telling folks that you're not part of this thing, and that you're out. You did what you were set out to do.
No, I think the only thing that we fucking disputed was being hounds. I don't know where the fuck she came up with that bullshit, but yeah, I don't know. Fucking Marlena seemed reasonable. I don't remember talking about it fucking with any of your shit though. I get distracted easy. Maybe I'm just fucking misremembering things.
It happens. I usually lose track of time for a very long while. There's a reason why I stopped drinking sherry when I was alive. Doesn't pack much of a punch initially, but you drink, a couple of bottles and the night just disappears. you get less headache than when you're drinking ouzo, but it's still still a hangover. So what I was thinking, we got a bunch of bad cards, and I got sold a bad bill of goods with you all. You're not who you were painted to be, and this isn't what I initially was hoping. But we're stuck in this together, and yet you got Melina willing to go to war for you, and you got these other people, your sheriff, clearly Sawinski, maybe Arturo himself, they are willing to stand against her. So what if, now you tell me if this is stupid, or tell me how brilliant I am with this. You all talk to Melina into joining us, to being with us, and we help her get what she wants, which is, clearly she wants something, otherwise she wouldn't have gone to war for you guys. Autonomy.
See, that's what I was just fucking thinking. Maybe we get you and the rest of us to all sit down with Marlena and see what you can fucking work out, right? Because that's the obstacle.
You think,
If I'm understanding right, she's in charge of the fucking unions, right? And all that shit. That was your problem?
yes, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Lyric, what about you getting your people? Clearly they're already on board with her, but looking favorably on us, on me, on you, on this thing, so that when we all sit down, we kind of got Marlena by the short and curlies without her ever realizing it. But she don't know she has to agree with us until she has to agree with us.
It's the lesser of all the evils, I think. I can see what I can do about approaching Mom Dukes and see what she says. Try to sell her as to how this would benefit us.
Perfect.
And,
It's funny you should mention you're going to visit your people. I heard, Penelope, that you are a driver of some repute, and you could make sure she gets there and gets back safely. And I heard that baby's the distraction, so you guys could go work your magic, get Lyrish people to see that we are people too, and we can get something accomplished that way.
Beginnings of something.
Excellent. I'm all good with that. That's a very great idea. I'm glad you all thought of it. I look forward to your successes in this first step of our endeavors of working together to free ourselves from the dreaded scourge that is Sawinski, and we can move on with the rest of our existences as friends and allies and associates and, well, kindred who have gotten a rough deal from the society that we are currently a part of. And because of our very rocky start, he hits the push down on his door and the top opens. Normally it would be an ashtray, and it really still is an ashtray, but it hasn't been a cigarette in there in a very, very long time. And he pulls out these small black lava rocks. You all need to keep these on your person. I'll keep one on me. All we have to do is concentrate on each other, and we're able to speak into that shared middle space. If you don't keep this on you, I will accept that this is your effective 2 weeks notice, and you guys are on your own and I'm on my own. Sounds like a plan.
Seems like some sort of hoodoo.
It is.
More convenient for the cell phone, at least.
It very much is. This is how I'm gonna share a little secret with you. This is how we, the Hakata, are able to get around a lot of your issues with technology that you Towerites have. We're able to communicate with each other via cell phones, but we're also able to communicate with our occasional associates within your side of the equation with these.
Sure, but is it gonna fucking track me or be up on my business? Because I've got enough of that already.
It's not one of those pod tags that the kids were drinking and eating and finding all over the place, but it's close, meaning that if you don't have it on you, then I'll know. You have it on you, I don't know where you are. We just talk to each other.
Well, fuck, that'd be alright then. I just don't want any more fucking people following me around.
It's New York. People are weird. I had this one guy follow my car for I don't know. Hey, yo, Samuel, how long did that guy follow us? And he leans past you and knocks on the window. Hey, Samuel, how long did that guy car the other day follow us?
I thought his name was Arthur.
Oh, Arthur. Oh, sorry, Arthur. How long did the other car follow us, Adi? Huh. The motherfucker's got his ass on his shoulder. And he opens the door and steps out. Well, you can see him swelling up and preparing to put him in his place verbally, quietly, of course. Like a disobeying child in front of family members. You bring them close and whisper all sorts of tough threats in their ear to get them to act right. Maybe if you're older, late 50s and such, you might get working a little pinch in there so they know that there's more where that came from. And as he's walking around the car, and he opens the door, Arthur is nowhere to be seen. You guys are still inside the vehicle. Do you get out as he's pacing, looking around, up, down, and left and right? The night seeming suddenly cooler.
The fact that his driver didn't answer is a problem. He had been sitting here too long, I think. We don't know how long that guy's been gone.
Baby gets out of the car saying, "Oh, fuck this, I've seen this movie."
And what movie is that? As good as it gets. I love that with Jack Nicholson and the Keaton lady.
The movie about the stereotyped Italians, and then fucking the driver leaves the car, and then the car fucking explodes and everyone dies. Fuck that shit.
Oh shit, you're right. And he starts backing away from the car. What the fuck? Where is...
Penny will get out of the car.
The vehicle also exit.
Of course, now we're out in the open, so maybe it's a sniper situation, but I'd rather be shot than fucking blown up.
Yeah, I want to leave a good-looking corpse if for at least for a little couple of while, and he's looking up and at the buildings and glancing up and down the street. The fact that it's early enough in the evening where there's still people moving up and down the sidewalks. It's early enough in the evening where the hustle and the bustle of the day has dimmed, but it hasn't gone out. It hasn't gone to its full nighttime version of itself. It's early enough in the evening that supper is still being had. It's early enough in the evening that it's not actually dinner time for most upwardly mobile professionals. And yet, there's an eerie quiet that falls over the street. All of that movement, left, right, up, down, and center, all of those mortals ignoring you all because you guys are just crazy New Yorkers standing in the street and standing on the sidewalk and staring at the dark sedan. But there's a sixth sense to these sorts of things. There's a understanding that all is not right with the world. There is a immediate grip that something has changed for the worse, and all of the fears that dredges up. And as you all stare at the sedan, wonder where Arthur has gotten off to, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode, and I shall see you guys next week. Good night, everybody.
See you next week.
Night all.